So you're back in the WWE.
Yeah, I've been back, for, 6, 8, 9 months, something like that.
Says in your new book, you and Vince were on the outs.
Well, you know
really
what he
outs.
did? He really didn't do the right thing.
What did he do wrong?
He had a contract.
Go ahead.
What's your point?
What's your point? They were relying on him.
Right.
And he just disappeared. He didn't even tell him he wasn't going to show up anymore.
Is that true?
Yeah, it's a little more complex than that.
What was
Bottom
it?
line, I guess you could say that's what happened. But man, I was having a lot of health problems with my nerves and stuff like that. Just all the way back from '97 from the pile driver. I got the the bruised spinal cord. I still suffer from that. And then I had 3-4 fused, C3-4 fused back in 2000.
Did Vince know you were ill?
No, not so to speak, because I just never played that. Just never.
You never played that
down
card.
Road. I mean, just kind of kept it all in.
You're one of those guys. You're a trooper. You keep going.
Well, that's just the way that, to me, the wrestling business is. You just go as far as you can, and then finally, man, it's like
he trooped right on out of there.
Well, you start seeing the writing on the wall, and bam, you run into the wall.
Yeah.
Right.
And along with
and
that,
you were the biggest star of the WWE at that point.
Besides The Rock.
No, The Rock wasn't even that big at that point, was he?
Well, he started coming on after my first neck surgery, and then of course he got really hot. And he did really well, but he happens to be a friend of mine. And in this business, you don't have a whole lot of friends.
So you say to yourself, "Is Robin right?" You just said, "You know what? I'm out of here, man. I don't care about my contract. I got to leave for my health."
Well, it was the health reasons, and then the fact that on the creative end, I mean, it was really burying me, dog. I mean, it was some really stupid stuff that didn't make sense.
What was the worst stuff you had to do?
Well, it was just wanted me to go out and do a match, and of course, I was going to come out on the bottom end of the match, and they pitched this idea to me while I was driving down to Columbus, Georgia, to work a cage match with Ric Flair.
Right.
And I remember telling Jim, I said, Jim Ross, the announcer, and he gave the creative by me, and I said, well, if that's going to happen, I'm not going to be there. You need to change it.
They wanted you to lose to some chump?
Yeah, in a no build-up match, nothing.
Why did they want you to do that? You were their hero.
Well,
you were the guy.
That's when they started spreading me a little too thin. So then Vince calls me that night, and he drives the same scenario by me. And, by this time, I'd had about a gutful.
He starts telling you why you got to do this particular match and take the loss.
Right, and I figured I'd done told Jim Ross exactly what was going to happen if they didn't change it. And so when Vince pitched that idea, and it was about 2 a.m, I was back in my hotel room in Atlanta, Georgia, fixing to do the show there the next day. He got finished telling me the little deal, and I said, okay. Well, I was saying maybe to him that's okay. Steve's cool with it. Me, it was okay.
I told you I'm not
coming. Up my ass.
Yeah.
I'm hauling ass out of here.
Don't you have to lose a few matches? I mean, you can't always win.
But that we're trying to work on a kid and build him up. Stone Cold Steve Austin is not the first victim you feed him. I'm the last.
Right.
There's money there.
I didn't know you were allowed to say, hey, I don't like. I figured they just decide your fate. You're going to lose this match. You're going to win this match. I didn't know you even get to be brought in on creative.
Well, yeah. I mean, it really depends on who you are, where you are on the system, as far as on
you're the top guy,
pecking order.
Right.
And Vince is always very open to listening ideas.
But as you can hear, he really doesn't have a say. They tell him.
Yeah. So you just left.
No, it was a deal like where I do have a say, but at that deal, I wasn't going to argue with him. I wasn't going to go to the building and then present my case and then get out of it there. I just said, hey, screw it. I'm out of here.
When you didn't show up for your match, was that it? Vince said, that's it. You're out of the WWE. You're done.
No, he didn't say that. As a matter of fact, he left a message on my cell phone, telling me, hey, if I got some problems, give him a call back. And I figured, maybe that's just lip service. I'm not calling anybody.
Right.
So he stuck out the hand first, but I just said, no, that's bullshit.
Right. They waited for him and waited for him.
Yeah. So then it all escalated into being about a 6 or 8 month deal before anybody talked to anybody.
Did you think that was it? You're out of wrestling. That's it.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Yeah. I was just sitting there watching the contract go close to expiring, and then finally I go to my mail one day, and there's a card in the mail from Jim Ross. Just said, hey, Steve, if I can be of any help, give me a call, Jim Ross. So I picked up the phone and I called him right then because, he extended the handshake back to me. Talked to Jim for about 2 hours on the phone, went through two cell phone batteries, and he said, hey, man, he goes, Vince has had problems with a lot of guys before, but he's always been a big enough guy to try to bury the hatchet and get things back together.
Right.
Are you open to, maybe getting a meeting with him and seeing if you guys can get back together? I said, well, yeah. I said, I'd like to go to the guy and look him face to face and ask him what the hell happened.
Right.
So anyways, about 2 months later, and Jim Ross set up the meeting. It was just me and Vince in High Rise Hotel in Houston, Texas, because that's where the Raw was.
And you sat down, you told him, look, I got my health problems, I got this, I got that. I want to be back with you guys, but I got to come up with a whole different scenario.
Right. It was a deal where, first when we got there, it was a pretty awkward moment.
Right.
And we just kind of started just like, hey, talking about the surface level stuff about the show.
Yeah.
Then finally he leans forward, he goes, what happened? And
you told him?
Yeah, I just told him everything. And
you start crying?
No.
You're a real
I
man.
wasn't the time to start crying.
Right.
So then, but really, when he walked in, I mean, we didn't know if we were going to fight or shake hands or what.
Right.
You know, like because Vince is.
Well, you could take Vince down, can't you? Pretty
well,
easily.
You know, I think the guy's pretty tough.
Yeah,
It's
but-
gonna come down to it. I
I'm
got to
pretty
bite
sure-
an arm off or something.
Would have been funny if you threw him out the window.
Oh, please.
We just kind of, then put things back together and said, hey, if I do come back, probably basically in a non-active role in, as far as wrestling goes. But then as it turns out, I ended up later on that year wrestling The Rock and probably
Right.
what was my last match in WrestleMania 19 in Seattle.